Hello everyone. Now, I actually recorded a segment where I checked out all the winners of the Poltavas from the last vid, but it ended up being so long because it took so long to parse all the comments, so even though it was supposed to be at the start of the vid, I kind of just pasted it at the end of the vid. So today we're going to be featuring the Tallinn, Tier 8 upcoming Russian cruiser. Also, keep in mind that in this vid, there's also a chance to win 3 Atlantas. I want you to leave your in-game name and what server you play on and the keyword Flamu with no capitalization in the comments, and I will parse that and try to find you guys 3 winners. Well, you'll see at the end of the vid how it's done, how the drawing is done. I'm going to be giving 3 Atlantas this game, or this commentary, and I think later on we might be giving away some bigger stuff, namely some tier 9 ships. Moving on, the Tallinn. It is a Prince Eugen hull, but it has had its Russian twist on things. Starting off, well, we could start with the hull itself. It's supposed to be a lighter cruiser because it has 180mm guns, and they've kind of adhered to this. Namely, the deck armor is 27, just like on the Eugen, and it does have the same Eugen turtleback with the 40mm angled citadel armor behind a small German turtleback. But the bow, the stern, and the upper belt is 25mm, unlike Eugen's 27, so thinner armor. However, it does have that icebreaker bow, protecting its nose-in armor, that is 40mm. So obviously it can bounce pretty much all the AP, as long as the shells land there while you are angled. The rest of the ship has seen similar small changes to it. It loses some armor, but in return it actually gains a fair bit of concealment. In fact, the concealment is 11.2, and if I don't misremember, Eugen had 11.7 concealment, so about 500-meter advantage in concealment. This comes at the cost though, because whereas the Eugen is fairly nimble with a 770-meter turning circle, the Tallinn suffers from a pretty damn rough 900-meter turning circle. It can do 34.8 knots with the speed flag, but with the 8.7 rudder shift and a 900-meter turning circle, note that is the rudder shift if you're running the module, that concealment buff does come at a price. No, probably the more important gimmick is the guns. It trades, instead of having the 203mm German guns, it instead has 180mm guns, but it has 1 gun extra on each turret, meaning 12 guns compared to Hipper's or Eugen's normal 8 guns. 50% more guns, and in classic Russian fashion, even though the gun caliber goes down, the range actually goes up. You have 17.7 km range, and because you have such ridiculous shell velocity on these guns, the AP penetration is also incredibly good. I can put up a couple of charts to give you an idea of just how good the AP penetration velocity, or how good the AP penetration is thanks to the velocity of these 180mm guns. But for example, Hipper just straight up loses, and I think, if I remember correctly, these things have like the best pen of all tier 8 cruiser guns. They are in a class of their own. No other AP pen can really touch them. And they do have improved AP angles, and they do have that short fuse as well. They also got that special Soviet dispersion mechanic, where further away the dispersion is of course poor, and close range you basically have railguns with great pen and fantastic accuracy, as this poor Molotov here pushing into the cap is about to find out. With this many shells, obviously, and with that fuse, you can pull off some really devastating stuff against other cruisers. Not so much battleships, this isn't quite the Petropavlovsk, the penetration doesn't quite reach those levels unless you're basically point blank, but in general, it seems like a very strong ship. I've quite liked the Tallinn. It does well for obvious reasons. I might touch upon the HE DPM briefly. Note that the reload on the ship is 13.5, whereas Hipper's reload, or Eugen's reload, is 13. So it obviously, because it has 50% more guns, it pretty brutally out DPMs the like of Eugen, even though it has an Eugen hull. However, Hipper, let me double check, Hipper had a reload of 11.5. I'm not exactly sure where the DPM lands, but I would assume this ship still just beats it, because 13.5 second reload, but 50% more guns. They have the same HE Alpha, which is 2.5k, basically, which is trash. German HE Alpha is trash, and they have that same issue. Keep in mind though that even though Tallinn's AP hits has this amazing pen, and you have 12 shells, you don't have that amazing Hipper or German AP Alpha. I think the German AP Alpha is 5.9k, whereas Tallinn's AP Alpha is 4,550. So what, 1.4k less almost per shell, which is obviously a significant downgrade. However, when you're close range and brawling and using these guns, you still get an advantage out of it. The Charles Martel looks like he's gonna go for the classic YOLO on the Richelieu, so I'm trying to stop to see if I can assist him. Not quite enough lead, his acceleration catches me off guard, but we do catch him with 2 citadels. Note the lack of overpens, and this is something that short fuse has really been working for. Mostly if I'm not hitting superstructure, most of the time it's gonna be pens. Again, 4 penetrations. The guns are very consistent, especially when fighting other cruisers. Well, even against battleships, if they give broadside and you can just target the upper belt, the guns hit hard. They're consistent, hard hitting. The HE is okay, the AP is very good. They did nerf the penetration angles. I did mention that these things have improved pen angles. In the recent patch notes, they did nerf these pen angles slightly, but I'm a bit undecided if that's quite enough. The ship has its fair share of advantages right now. Only really the poor maneuverability and the fact that it's 25mm plating is somewhat keeping it in check. Having the Eugen hull, meaning that turtleback, of course, also means that you have the capacity to pull off YOLOs without being citadeled. Eugen and Hipper, just like the Tallinn, can only really be citadeled at really far ranges. At close range, if you're not fully turning, if you're just going in a straight line, you're unlikely to get citadeled. I do actually kind of bank on that, and I mess up a bit. I hit more penetration damage than I hoped. Baltimore, I'm gonna see if I can maybe catch him with some citadels. Note that dispersion is clearly poorer at long range, but I wouldn't exactly say the dispersion is terrible either. Especially considering the pen behind the guns and the range that you're shooting at for a tier 8 cruiser, it is quite effective. Overall, my Tallinn has been an enjoyable experience. Is the ship perhaps too powerful? I'm surprised I'm getting overpens on the Baltimore, but I assume it's because I'm hitting his superstructure, just aiming too high on him. Overall, Tallinn has been an enjoyable experience. The question is it overpowered? I'm undecided. I think maybe it doesn't need to have quite 13.5 second reload, because I feel like, well, it's literally a Hipper, well, a Eugen hull. Why does it need to be so much better than them on the damage numbers? It seems a bit iffy, because mostly, especially with the concealment 11.2, you can really just sneak up on ships and open up on them at 11.5. And with this AP, with this hard-hitting broadside, it really hurts. And it's something Hipper and Eugen also kinda can do, but they don't have access to that incredible penetration, they don't have access to that short fuse, they don't have access to those improved pen angles. Tallinn has a fair bit of advantages here. Another change is that you don't have the 2 torpedo launchers per side, meaning 6 torps. Instead you have 1 5x launcher on your side, and the torpedo range is only 4 kilometers. I hope the Richelieu would get overpens if I gave him enough broadside, because I wasn't really afraid of citadels, but that did not happen. Note that I only catch him with 1 torpedo, but it easily finishes him off, because even though you only have 5 torpedoes, these torpedoes hit for almost 18k a pop. So they have a lot of firepower behind them. Mogami trying to use all his guns on me to kill me off as fast as quickly, but giving me this much broadside means that these guns, especially low HP with AR, do a lot of damage. Note that Will to Victory activated, and that is of course another advantage. You can run a Kuznetsov on the ship, and running Kuznetsov, this is actually one of the reasons why I featured this commentary in particular. Running a Kuznetsov allowed me to live just long enough to take that final shot and kill off that Mogami. Without Kuznetsov, that would never have happened. He would have killed me off and survived with what, 15, 16k health left. But now instead I managed to trade 1 for 1. Which just speaks on just how stupidly overpowered that captain is. I recently have featured a pan-European captain where I said, well, he's good, but obviously nowhere in the same league. And this is an example of why Kuznetsov is completely in his own league. He can make you pull off stuff on a regular basis that you can't really do without the captain. Anyway, the game quite easily ends in a win, especially after that YOLO killing off 2 of them. 1 torpedo hit, not that much damage, but it was a pretty damn short game. More importantly, 14 citadels, something you are unlikely to see that often in a Hipper or an Eugen game. Team score wise, only 2k base. I was top tier, which is of course an advantage, but then again I was mostly fighting, I think, tier 8s this game, except for the poor Molotov who decided to charge in. Detailed report wise, mostly foreign AP, hardly surprised. I shot HE at the DD, but overall you want to be firing AP in these heavy Soviet cruisers. Somewhat questionable to perhaps call it heavy, considering it has 180mm guns and lighter armor. But then you look at the penetration capacity and you realize exactly why this ship is considered heavy. Anyway, moving on, I'm gonna line up after this. I'm gonna line up the giveaway for the winners of the Poltavas, and subscribe to the channel, post a comment, and you have a chance to win an Atlanta from this commentary as well. Bit of a messy commentary, sorry about that. I'm kind of working on getting all my stuff ready for tomorrow, because tomorrow is King of the Sea. The tournament starts tomorrow and I'm going to be casting it, and I really need to get my overlays and my UI sorted so my stream doesn't look like absolute crap. I hope you guys enjoyed this preview, and I'll talk to you guys later. Hello everyone, and before I begin my commentary, let's draw the 3 winners from our last video's giveaway. Filter, keyword filter, same one as I used the last time, which is Flamu, and include replies. Fetch, oh boy, oh god. Please tell me it didn't crash. Okay, there we go. Holy shit. Oh boy. Yeah, this... How many of you guys took part in this? 808? No, that's not enough. Oh god. Just while this is loading, I'm gonna give you the heads up that today's video, in today's video, I will be giving away 3 Atlantas. So today's video you will have a chance to win any one of the 3 Atlantas. I also have a Sean Bart, some Alaskas and some Georgias, so I think I'm gonna be giving those away in a YouTube vid tomorrow. So giving away the tier 9s that are left over. Here we go, pick a winner. First winner is... Hey, there we go. Here we go. SCI. Oh, remove CV. Beautiful name. SCI from the EU server. Pick a second winner. Daniel Roger. This guy went all ham with all of this. A squishy guy, server NA. And third one is Meddrum EU server. Congratulations to the 3 winners, and in this video I will be giving away 3 Atlantis to 3 lucky winners. Let's move on to the commentary itself.